Hello everyone, hello my friends, I'm back and I'm happy to be back. I know I was gone for a long time. It has been a long minute since I've posted any content, but I was in surgery. I had surgery for my knee to repair a medial meniscus root tear, which is pretty devastating to the biomechanics of the knee. But I'm glad to be back. I wish I could say that there was a studio fairy that came through here while I was on crutches for 6 weeks, but sadly there was not. There was no studio fairy that came through and cleaned up for me, so the place is a mess, but I really want to get started. I really want to get back to work, so we're just going to deal with the mess and maybe I'll clean it tomorrow. I'm still having a little bit of difficulty getting around because now my other knee is bothering me, but that's a whole nother video, maybe not for this channel. And you'll see this going on in my videos today as I work. I developed sort of a trigger thumb in this middle joint right here from being on crutches for 6 weeks. So I'm just trying to give that a rest and not bend it and inflame it anymore. And before I forget, if this video helps you in any way, please help me out and hit the like and subscribe button. It means more to me than you'll ever know. Thank you so much. And I highly recommend, if you don't have a rolling mill, and it's a very expensive investment, ingot mold for wire making. You can see inside it has 4 different sizes of wire. I'm going to be going with the largest one. I want to make a wide band, half round sterling silver bracelet. And this fits together, the 2 halves, and then we pour our hot silver into the ingot mold. So let's get started. Okay, so what you will need for this to melt up your scrap silver is, of course, first some scrap silver. And I have a small crucible that I got from Rio Grande. And this is my ingot mold that we talked about earlier. I also have a clamp here to hold that together, and we'll get to that in just a minute. And then you'll also need some of this non-stick ingot spray. I have used this without it. Maybe there was enough on there, but it seems to always work a little bit better with this non-stick ingot spray. So first we're gonna blitz this thing up with a little bit of spray. And you don't need much. It comes out super fast. And put this far, far away from where you're going to be torching. So that's going back behind me on the shelf. I'm going to put this together and hold it together with my clamp. Give it a little snug, and I'm going to set that right there. The next thing with our ingot, I'm going to heat my ingot up before I even put any silver in there. I have made the mistake in the past when I first started doing this to just put the silver in there and heat the thing up, and it just took forever. But you'll cut your time in half if you go ahead and make your crucible red hot before you even get started. What I'm using to melt my silver, I think it's called a rosebud torch head, and I have an oxy propane Smith torch for jewelry making. You will need, you can't do this with a butane kitchen torch. You'll need something a little bit more powerful. And I have done it with MAP gas, like a big MAP gas torch from Lowe's, but you just get a little bit more control. And if you don't have one of these, I highly suggest getting one. I use mine with an oxygen concentrator. It's a thing so I don't need a tank of oxygen, and propane tank. So I'm gonna just turn this off for a second, set this aside. All right, so now I'm going to start to heat up my my crucible. And the other thing that you're going to need, I hope you can hear me, is some protective eyewear. That eyewear is from Whale Apparatus, and it's for lamp working. It's also like considered, they're not welding glasses, but they do the same thing by keeping that really bright light from hurting your eyes. And I'm super fortunate that Whale Apparatus happens to be about a 40-minute drive from me in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. So I'm just going to heat this up. If this gets too boring as I melt my silver, I'm going to speed up the video. But yeah, we're just starting to there. Now it's starting to get a little red hot. And the other thing that you'll want to do, there, that's getting red hot. We can come back to that. Is heat up this ingot mold right here. I'm using the biggest mold in this, so I want to hit that and get that nice and hot, because if I don't, when I go to pour my silver in it, the shock of that cold mold makes the silver kind of blow up on you, so it's dangerous. You must heat this up. I've also got, you can't see, but I've got a really thick leather apron on to protect my body, just in case that happens anyway. Happened to me once, and I will never ever again forget to heat up my mold. I was okay, none of the silver hit me, but boy did it scare the bejesus out of me. All right, that should be good for now, and I can come back and forth and hit that periodically throughout this whole process. All right, and now I'm going to start to grab some scrap silver and start throwing that in there. I probably should have cut some of this up a little bit smaller. That should be enough. Probably more than enough, but I always like to have more than enough set aside. This I'm gonna save. Heat these up again. The other thing I like to do is hit the pour spout of my crucible so that when I go to pour it, it's hot and it doesn't, the silver doesn't cool as it flows over that pour spout. Now I also suggest take the torch away from your crucible as you put silver in it and then melt it. Sticking to my thumping. So I'm one, I really like watching this silver melt. But if you find this part boring, let me know in the comments below if you want me to speed this section up or slow it down and watch it melt. Real time or fast time? I also kind of like the real time for tutorials because it really gives you an idea of how fast or slow something should be happening. A lot of times I watch like other kinds of tutorial videos on painting where it's really, really fast. And then I go and I try to paint and I'm trying to paint it really, really fast when really it's quite a slow process. I had some paper. I use labels to put my designs on silver sometimes to saw them out, and that flame that you saw probably was some paper burning off of some silver. And add your silver in bit by bit. Don't try to add all of it in at once, because as you can see, this last handful of metal that I just put in there made that other blob of silver just cool down a little bit too much. And now we have to wait for the whole thing to melt again, because it acted as the hot part acted as a heat sink to the cold part, and it all, or vice versa, and it all cooled down just a little bit too much. That's almost enough silver that I got in there. I don't know if you can see that. It's not quite hot enough. But I think I want just to add just a little bit more. I would rather have some of the silver flow over the top of my mold than not have enough in there, because then I just got to do the whole thing over again. All right, that's like I said, keep going back to that spout, making your spout hot. I'm going to bring this close over here and kind of hit the ingot and the crucible at the same time so that my ingot mold is nice and warm. That's steel, so it doesn't get too hot. I mean, you can't touch it, but it doesn't get as hot as this. And I can see there's kind of something floating on my silver, so I want to kind of just skim that off. It's like, I think what it is the borax that I use to coat the crucible with, and it kind of melts and gets on the silver. I can get it off though if it is. All right, I think I got enough. I'll come back over here. I stand back away from it as far as I can and use my arm length. They aren't very long. I have like T-Rex arms. And now I'm going to hit the lip of the crucible and my sort of like, I guess I'm going to hit the lip of the crucible, and then do a real quick pour, a steady pour, not super quick, but like, don't stall. There it went. And I probably didn't have enough silver, but I might have. It's almost to the top. You can't see it on the video, but it's almost to the top, so it's fine. And now while that's hot, I'm gonna use this and my tongs. Oh, I want to get this out of the way before I burn my knuckles on it. All right. Ooh, it came out great. That's a good ingot. That is a good ingot. And see that brown stuff right there? Let me see if I can get the light to hit that right. There's like that brown stuff on the ingot. That's that stuff, that scum, that skimmy stuff that I was talking about on top of that molten ball of silver. And that's what that is. But it comes off as soon as you start hammering it, so. All right, so here's our ingot, and as you can see, there's kind of like, it gets into, let me see if I can zoom in on this. It gets the crack or the seam of the ingot and makes all that messy mark. Some of this I'll trim off with just a pair of flush cutters, and then I'll put this in my vise and just kind of file over it to clean that up a little bit. So now I'm back over on the other side of my bench area, and I'm just gonna clean up these little things here. This is super snaggy. We're just gonna lose that for a while. All right, so I'm just gonna put this in my vise. This is a piece of leather that I cut off my apron that I was wearing for, that I wear for melting silver. And I cut that off months ago, but I just wanna file this off just a little bit. And I don't know if you know this, but files only work in one direction. They don't work this way. And I kind of just like to give a round, make my hand kind of make the file go in the direction that the metal is shaped. Do you hear my kitty? And this is how I roll. So I'm starting this. This is a Pepetools rolling mill. And I'm starting this probably, I'm going to try the first. I'm rolling out a half round. And every time I send it through, I'm turning this about a notch, about one notch on there. This is half round wire that I'm making, and I want it to be as big as I can, so I'm not gonna make this too thin, because I want to put some cool stamps on it, like metal stamps. I'm still on the first notch, the largest half round wire. I think. Oh, I ways to go yet. Now we're getting somewhere. Notch, the largest half round wire. I think. Oh, we got a ways to go yet. Now we're getting somewhere. And now I just took this over to my stump and I hammered it flat on my steel bench pin. Now we will start rolling again as soon as I mark this up. And I think I'm gonna continue going in the same direction. That's just how I've always done it. And that's how I'm gonna keep doing it. And I'm still on the largest slot, half round wire gauge. Now we kneel again. All right, so there is my bracelet, my half round wire, and I'm gonna go ahead and put some stamps on this, and I'm thinking I just want to do like some stars or something, but I haven't really decided. I'm gonna think about it. I use Bench Basics Smart Flux. I just put it in a little spray bottle and it is super duper handy. I get that from Pepetools. Dry my flux off a little bit here. Hopefully not torch off my mark, my center mark there. Go. Little tweezers. Now let's pray I don't melt these little moons. I have already pre-soldered the backs of these tiny little moons, and hopefully when that solder melts they won't float too far off center here. Alright, here we go. Now when you do something like this, you'd think you'd want to just torch right there, but you've actually got to, and I really should have some more things under here. You really have to heat up your entire piece of metal first, and then like the last second go back and hit those little tiny pieces with the torch. And I hope this isn't too big. These aren't too far. Sometimes if you get that piece hot enough, your bigger piece, it will radiate right over and melt the flux, and you won't even have to torch it. I'm sorry, melt the solder. You won't even have to torch that. All right, I think we're getting close. Yep. I think if I just take my little pick and move that moon, oh, there we go. Put that one in. Oh, there it is. Perfect. I didn't melt the tiny teeny moons. Now hopefully this is still hot enough, and I want to put one on the end, one on each end. I used easy solder for this because I wanted it to melt quick or flow quick and not melt these tiny, tiny little moons. They would have just turned into balls. By the way, this is 7 inches long, this bracelet. It'll be for a small wrist. If I would have been able to fill that ingot mold all the way to the top, I might have gotten about 8 or 9 inches out of it, but this is okay. It is what it is. There we go. There, that is awesome. And now we pickle. Before I forget, I want to put this in the pickle pot, but I want to also stamp this with my 925 stamp. In the United States, we can do this. I know that in other countries, it has to be sent away to get your hallmark on there, but that's how we roll here. I think that's upside down. I can't see it. It's so tiny. Where's my light? Oh, come along. Let's see. Let's zoom in a little more. Goes this way. Okay. I don't want to hit my camera. There we go. I'm also going to put my initials on this. T. TG. All right. Now let's just straighten this out. It is quite annealed, and this doesn't fit in my pickle pot all the way, so I'm going to bend it into a bracelet shape and then pickle it. And I am going to leave this kind of really organic feeling. All right. This is a bracelet bending pair of pliers, and I think this is going to do just fine for us. I want to leave this center part straight. I don't want to bend that. I kind of want it to go like a C shape around the wrist. So what I'm going to do is start at this end, and you can see there's a curve in these pliers, and we just put that in there and give it a little bend. Move it a little bit, give it a little bend, and I'm just not even inching it along, just like 1/8 of an inching it along. You can also hammer this around a bracelet mandrel, but I don't have one. They're very expensive. Or you can hammer it around a rolling pin or a big thick wooden dowel I once used, like something that you would use for like a banister. I've had this bracelet mandrel for a long time. I think I got it at that might not work. I think I got it at Michael's. Got to bend that a little bit more. All right, now we're getting somewhere. As I'm doing this, I'm kind of putting a little bit of a twist in my wrist to bend it just a little bit more. That looks a little uneven. There we go. All right, there's my bracelet, my Starry Moon bracelet. Let's see how it fits. Perfect. Awesome. All right, this is going to go in the pickle, and then we're going to shine it up, and it'll be done. All right, so I'm just going to hit this thing with these Dedeco, I think that's how you say it, Dedeco, D-E-D-E-C-O. I get them at Rio Grande. And I want this to be a high, shiny polish. So I use Winox for patina, and I just take a little brush and add the patina on to all those little spots there. And I just patinaed that whole thing, and after I do that, I like to dunk it in a solution of baking soda and water just to get the, this is a little grungy, but just to get the neutralize that acid of that patina. I'm gonna go rinse this off, and then to get my high shine back, I like to use these. These are cleaning pro polish pads from Rio Grande. And sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. I might have to use my flex shaft, but we'll see what we got here. I'm just gonna buff this off. I like these because if I take it over to my buffer, it will take off what's inside the things that I stamped, all those little stars. It'll go too deep, and this just really gets the surface. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it useful or helpful to you in any way, please help me out in return and hit the subscribe button. It means so much to me. Thanks everyone, and have a great day. See you next time.